So with solo leveling, there's two things that we need to cater to as of right now, and that's leveling up and having a good amount of power level in order to get missions done, content done, to get, you know, higher rewards, so that way we can use that to progress even further more on. Now, I understand that leveling up is going to be a bit of an issue, because I know some people want to progress, but then they'll come to a bit of a standstill in terms of, let's say, story mode, where it is then going to ask you to be a certain level to continue. So for example, with myself, I have to hit level 37 in order for me to continue, and it is a wild beast boss. Lovely. And so with that, I am now in that position of, damn, I need XP, and I need a lot of it, because of course as of right now I am level 35, and with that, I think for me to get to like level 36, level 37, I'm probably going to need around about over 100k of XP, more than likely. So for me, I mean, to be honest, boys, truth be told, there's not really much we can do. We're basically hell-bent on waiting on reset. Now, what are the best ways to go about XP? Truth be told, the only missions that you can realistically capitalize on XP will be story and gates. Instant Dungeon is later on, so you guys don't need to worry about that. Battlefield of Trials is more for resources. The gear missions are for gears, you don't get any XP on that. Hunter Archive is just to learn more about the characters. They don't provide you with anything. So you're kind of limited, realistically, gameplay wise, on what you can do. Obviously, gates is also somewhat kind of limited. I mean, if you can rescan, try and go for the power level that you're currently at, of course, so that way you can maximize the difficulty as well as the experiences that you can potentially walk out with. It's not much, but it's something rather than nothing at the end of the day. Not only that, obviously when it does reset, the gate missions with the additional XP you can gain, this is every day, so once you get the +3, it will then reset, and then of course it will move over to other resources. So it's not an ongoing thing, but at the very beginning, when it resets, you can actually maximize and get a good amount from the gates missions themselves. Story. Now, I think it's gonna, honestly, I think it's, well, this is hard, my bad. On the normal story mission, I think, in all honesty, I think chapter 7 is when people are gonna start getting to that standstill spot, or it might be chapter 8. It's gonna be one of the two. It's either gonna be chapter 7 or chapter 8, where it kind of, you actually start to feel it, because at that point you're at that high level around about, I think, 27, 28, level 27, 28, maybe a little bit more, where you're gonna be like, damn, I need a lot of XP, and I'm kind of limited on what I can do. So obviously do the side chapters. Well, if you're like me and you just need XP, just grind it out. So obviously I've got 2 more slots right here, but you only get a little bit of experience. I need a lot. One thing which you can do, which I kind of found out last minute, is that on the hard mission they give you a ton of XP, like a lot, especially with the main chapters. So for example, with the chapter I'm on right now, the Gatekeeper mission, I get 1400 XP from this. That is a great deal amount. So if you're capable enough and you're able to actually run through the hard difficulty, because the hard difficulty will boost you up like an insane amount in levels, to the point where, you know, if there is another early stoppage level wise on the normal chapter, you'll probably surpass it because you've already passed that level. So I will say, as of right now, from what I've experienced, doing the hard story side of things is probably the best way to get an obscene amount of XP in one go. It's insane. Like, I was leveling up after completing 1 or 2 of like regular fights. Like, the XP you get is crazy. And so, I mean, of course you're going to come to that point where, of course, it will then tell you to, you know, if you want to continue, you've got to be this level. But again, with the amount of XP that you can get on the hard difficulty, you will be able to progress a decent amount of chapters to the point where the standstill comes in, because you're at that high level mark now. So I would say, as of right now, hard is kind of like the best way to get a ton of XP. Obviously you got the daily resets. You know, that's gonna again, this will build over time, and again, this is a nice little way to also get more XP. So again, gaining XP, unfortunately, boys, it is somewhat limited. There isn't realistically much that we can do in terms of just kind of waiting it out, but I will say the best way I've managed to gain a ton of XP is through story mode, but on the hard difficulty. When it comes to power level, that's a whole different build game, because I mean, there's a lot that you can do to kind of push your characters in terms of making them as strong as they can be. So what are the ways on we can kind of focus on progressing through our characters and making them strong? Well, weaponry. Now, I've mentioned when you're re-rolling, if you can get yourself a hunter as well as weapons, then you're in a comfortable spot. Obviously with Jinwoo right now, as you guys can see, I'm kind of maximizing on weapons. Now, I will say this, you do actually get given a free SSR weapon for Jinwoo, and it is this scythe. So I actually kind of lucked out. If you have this scythe, boys, we lucked out. So let me show you guys where you get a free scythe. Again, it's gonna be it's gonna be a bit of a long process, but it is there. And so the scythe, you get given it. Where is it? So one of them you get through chapter 9. So as you're progressing through the story, of course. So clear chapter 12, episode 1. That's when you get the first scythe, right? And then the second scythe, I believe, is near the end. Yeah. So participate in the power of destruction one time, and you get another scythe. So technically speaking, the game does cater to giving you an SSR weapon. Now, in the meantime, what I would suggest is using weapons that are duped out multiple times, of course, depending on how your summons went, depending on how RNG is, you know, duping them out, getting them to plus 10 in this case, in these circumstances, will help out in terms of raising your power level. Now, be very wary, because obviously to get them to level 60 to level, you know, 40 and whatnot, it does require these specific items. That's not it. Let me go over to the scythe. You know, it does require these items, and they are somewhat kind of hard. Well, yeah, no, they are pretty hard to come by, and so you kind of want to limit break specific items. So it's completely up to you. I would personally say wait until I hold them off for your SSRs. So yeah, make sure you're working your levels. Of course, putting points in your stats. That's the given. Ruins. Obviously you've got one way of doing it where, how do I do this? Let's go back over here. Let's go to, is it art? No, is it skills? There we go. So you can level up ruins by using this specific material, which is completely fine. However, it's going to get to the point where you can go over to fuse, and then what you can do is use these materials. It's going to cost you 20k, and this is going to be a beautiful way to get levels on your ruins without having to use those scrolls. So for example, if we do one right now, what do we get? Okay, so we got dagger. Wait, what did that go to? Oh, beautiful. So that put me up a level. So right there, when you're gaining ruins, it does level up the weaponry. So for example, when it came to was it this one? Yeah, so the more runes you get for a specific skill, it will apply levels to it, and then of course at that point your power level will also go up. So it's a nice little cheesy way of going about doing it in terms of getting levels and powering up your character and powering up your runes without having to use scrolls. So that way there's two ways to maximize leveling up a certain skill ruin, not only just by getting the same ruin. So for example, with this specific skill, because I mean, even if you get duplicate ruins, of course it does come in handy in terms of it adding it as a level. I can then also go about leveling up, of course, so that way I can maximize its level. Even if I don't have any of these scrolls, if I do manage to create a new one for it, then boom, that's going to go up to level 8. Obviously it's kind of a given, make sure to run artifacts. I mean, at a later stage, when you're able to get accessories, parts, and of course do so. I mean, I'm still waiting on to get the final 2, but leveling up your artifacts is key. Now, if you do have an artifact, to get all of the substats, it will require it to be level 10. So what I would suggest, because in order to get 3 substats, because your gear will always have 2, so in order to get 3 you have to get to level 5. In order to get 4 you need to get level 10. After the level 10 mark, it will then start buffing up randomly one of the substats. Unfortunately, we can't pick and choose. It's just, it is what it is. If you played Genshin Impact, if you played Honkai Star Rail, it basically works in the same manner. So with that being said, if you are able to, if you have the resources, if you have the means to, at least try and get your artifacts to level 10. This will greatly boost up your power level. Not only that, you're going to also benefit from obviously the substats. If you can, what I try to do is I always try to 2-pair it, so that way I've got the sets effects being in place in terms of helping out my character, of course. And pretty much with Jinwoo, that is, I think for the most part, that's kind of what we're looking at in terms of what you can do to kind of raise his power level. Now, obviously, it's not just himself. You have to also work on your hunters. And with the hunters, it's going to be a little bit more simpler in terms of, depending on what level you are, it does correlate into what level that they can be. Obviously with their skills it does require a certain material, which yeah, I guess you can purchase. I'll show you guys in just a second, but for the very most of it, I do try my best to kind of right now what I'm trying to do is across the board just get everyone a level up, just to give everyone at the initial level up. You won't get that much of a boost, but I mean it's beneficial and it does give you boosting on the power level, so like it's not a bad thing, but something to look into and cater to, especially if you've got a set team ready to rock and roll. And then once again, as you guys can see with what I'm doing with my artifacts, I'm getting everything to minimum level 10, so that way I'm capitalizing on maximizing the gear with the substats, as well as giving myself a decent amount of power level. I mean, technically speaking, if I want to, I can get it to level 14, and then at that point it will require a certain leveling up material that I don't have just yet, but that's what you can do. At level 14 is when you can maximize using the currency, which most of us will have, or the resources should I say. So like all my characters, as you guys can see, level 10, level 10, level 10, certain ones I go a little bit further more, but level 10, level 10, level 10. That way I'm getting every substats possible, and again it helps out on the power level. Again, the higher the rarity, the more better. That's just kind of self-explanatory. Now in terms of weaponry, of course, you know, the weapons that have the most dupe that you can maximize, those are the ones that are going to give you more power level. So in terms of, for example, if I go for that +2 sword at level 1, this will give me more power. Boom, I'm getting an extra 201, and it's level 1, right? So that's something to look into when it comes to weaponry that you've got dupes into. So yeah, better example. So obviously we went, what, 200 more with the double SR, but if I go with, let's say, a rare +10, so we'll go with this one, it goes up a great, oh my god, damn, it goes up a hell of a lot more. Hold on a minute, wait a minute, should I, wait, I might actually cater to, I don't even need a QTE. Okay, I'm gonna have to look into that, because I might actually stick on a +10 rare weapon. If anything, that kind of works out even better. And plus it gives me a 10% stat boost on all rounds, so yeah, we might have to do that. Well, I don't know why I didn't think of that. Now that's individually going through the characters. You know, again, as you progress further more on, the Army of Shadows will open up for your usage. As you have Igris, he will actually, or it will, or whatever, you know, the thing, whatever it is, will actually count towards as your power level, because of course Igris is a shadow that you can apply to with the team, and so with that he will also, or it will also provide you with additional power level for your whole squad. So that's good to know. Again, more ways, but again, that's as you progress. Another way to kind of progress through getting more power levels is going to be the battle class. And no, that's not it, my bad, that is my full-on power level. Unfortunately, battle class doesn't give you any type of buff. It's going to be the armory. So this is where the SSR, this is why I mentioned, you know, don't sleep on SSR weapons, boys. By unlocking the armory and putting in your best weapons in here, this will give you a slight increase in your power level, just in general, just as an overall. So it will start off with 3, so I've got the 3 SSRs, and then the other 3 you can unlock in a free-to-play way by using these materials as you're going over time, or you can just open it up when you have the essence currency. So, yeah, so pretty much what you can also do is there is an armory enhancement, which will require these little other materials. I need 30 of it, and then obviously, as you guys can see, it does kind of go up in terms of helping me out in the power level side of things. But yeah, boys, that is pretty much it when it comes to leveling up. Again, kind of limited, unfortunately. And then when it comes to power leveling, the ways that I've just kind of go about increasing your power levels, those are going to be pretty much the ways to go about it. Of course, again, as you level up, as you go on, more modes, more things are going to open up for you to again increase your power level. But as it stands, the reason why I'm speaking about it now is because once you're leading up to the level 30 mark, you're going to start, I think there's going to be a little bit of a struggle at that point, so that's kind of what you want to cater to. It really is the gears. I will admit, the artifacts, once I started to get the purple and then the legendary artifacts started coming in, it really did push me being able to actually power through and actually getting through the harder difficulty, especially doing the hard mode in story. That really did push me through. So it really is the gears, and try and get them to level 10, so that way you're maximizing the substats, and that will benefit your characters and become even more stronger. And then again, as time goes on, things will open up, and there's more you can do in terms of getting your power level up. But that is pretty much going to be everything. So again, when it comes to starting your account off, you know, if you've got a hunter, if you've got a weapon going, that's a good start, and then from that point on, just progress. And yeah, just hope RNG is in your favor in terms of getting some good summons, because honestly, that's kind of where it all kind of starts from, right? So anyway, I'll end it there, boys. That's kind of what I just kind of wanted to talk about in terms of leveling up and your power level. So yeah, there isn't any like I mean, yeah, there's no like cheat code or any secrets. Realistically, the hard mode story, I think at the very least, that's kind of like the closest cheat code we have in terms of getting a ridiculous amount of XP in such a short time. Outside of that, everything else is just, yeah, it's kind of slow progress, and it heavily requires like a daily reset type of thing. You know, we can get a great deal amount, but it's limited on a daily reset basis. So yeah, that's pretty much everything. If I missed out anything, let me know down below. Just put it in the comments for others to see. Yeah, if I missed out anything too insane, I'll probably pin it. But yeah, all right. I think I covered everything that I need to cover.